Okay, ladies, so today we have Ginille Brown. She is a nurse practitioner and she is the owner of Ginille Beauty Aesthetics. So she's a registered aesthetic nurse practitioner, which I love. I love when we have professional certified baddies on the show. You
Yeah.
know, it's not giving
Thank
veneer
you.
tech vibes. It's giving, she knows what she's talking about. Okay, she has a skill, she has a certification,
She
she
has a
has,
license,
yeah, she
not
has a
even a
license. She has
certification.
a license to back it up. So she has a wealth of knowledge in beauty and aesthetics. She has a passion for helping people feel empowered by their beauty. And she's been performing Botox and dermal filler injections with precision and care since 2013. And welcome to the show, Janelle.
Yes.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
Of course, we are so excited to have you now. I know you know because you're in the field, but I cannot scroll on TikTok without seeing things about Botox, filler, do this, do that. And so, just to give you context, Jeremy and I were both 35 years old. And I feel like this is around the age, I mean, it's even been younger recently, but this is around the age where people start getting beauty treatments to preserve their youth and, ease into the later part of life still looking good. But I just need to talk to a professional about this because if I'm being honest, I'm a little apprehensive. I'm scared. I don't know. I'm also ignorant when it comes to a lot of it. So we're so glad to have you here. We have a full conversation. We know our listeners are going to enjoy the conversation as well. So again, just welcome and thank you for being here.
Yes. So,
Yes, thanks.
Janelle, let's just kick it right off. Can you explain the difference between Botox and filler? Because I don't think many
Okay.
people know.
Yeah, I agree with you. So Botox is just a general term. There's different brands, but that's going to be a wrinkle relaxer. So it's going to stop your muscles from contracting or from flexing so forcefully. We use it cosmetically, like most commonly people say for frown lines. When I frown, I get like deep lines here. Or when I raise my eyebrows, I get the horizontal lines. Or when I smile, the lines around here are starting to etch in. So we can use Botox to weaken those muscles from making the faces so strong.
Mm.
And you can do different amounts. I think people are like, oh, if I do it, I can't frown at all. I see everybody from all different backgrounds, all skin types, all skin tones, all have somebody that's like the preacher at their church to an OnlyFans, like top creator to somebody that we see on TV every day. And so everyone has like different goals and different faces. So I was like, not everybody wants to be really restricted. Some people just want to soften them. They still want to move, they have expression. So it's like always a conversation to figure out what's right for you.
Yeah.
So that's Botox. Filler, there's different types. We have the regular filler, hyaluronic acid gel. So brands people may have heard of are Restylane, Juvederm. Those are some brands of it. And what we do with filler, I want you to think of like volumizing, plumping, lifting, hydrating. And so we use those in different parts of the face if people are saying, I feel like I'm getting sunken under my eyes, or my cheeks don't look as like lifted as they used to, or I'm having these like lines around my mouth and my nose and they look downturned. So there is where we're going to try to like volumize the area. We don't want to like stop muscle movement here because then you wouldn't be able to smile, but it's softening those lines.
Okay. That's a
Wow.
good
Okay,
distinguisher.
that is good because like I'm getting my B, my
My little
Botox. I'm
B.
getting my
Yeah.
filler.
Yes.
Little
Um,
B.
just to backtrack really quick, have you always been in aesthetics, or like what caused you to go into this field, with, like before you even
Yeah.
started your studies?
So I went to Stanford for undergrad, and then I used to think I was going to go into medicine, and then I said no. I talked to a lot of different doctors at the school, and they were telling me they wouldn't have done it again. So I said, what else can I do? Someone talked to me about nursing. I pursued nursing. I went to Duke. I thought I was going to do pediatrics. Um, I realized I did not like that in school because the kids were screaming and scared of the provider. I liked women's health a lot. I came to Los Angeles. My husband's oral surgeon out here, and we went to undergrad together. And I was looking for a job like in an ER. Somebody said, I know a friend you can talk to. She runs the ER down where I live. And she's like, hey, I don't have any jobs right now in a few months. I said, okay. So she called me the next day and she's like, come to this other place I work at. It's a med spa. I said, what is that? Because we don't learn anything about this in school. And she was saying these words to me like I'm saying to you guys, Juvederm and Restylane and lasers. And I was like, oh, I don't know anything about that. Like, I can't even help you. And she was like, we'll teach you. And she's like, I think you have a good personality for it. Come check it out. And I had this like misconception when I went. I was thinking, oh my gosh, it's going to be what I see on TV, where people are like, I was like, I don't want
Manip-
that. Like, I cannot do that to people.
Yeah.
And then I went and it was just regular women, like just getting their treatments. They looked just like we see every day in life. And then I was hearing their stories that day and they're telling me why they get the treatments and how it makes them feel. And it's really for them. It's like a personal thing. So I was like, whoa, there's such a human side to this. And just helping them feel more like hearing their stories and seeing how they felt more confident. I was like, wow, this is really cool. So I started that, and I loved it. I was doing family medicine because I'm a family nurse practitioner, and alongside that, and then it got to a point where I was just like, I need to do only what I love. I have three babies now, but I had one child at that point, and I was like, if I'm going to take time away from him, I better be doing something that's like worth it and that drives me and fuels me. And this is it. And then it has just come to so much more than I ever expected and ever knew. And yeah, I was like training, and anytime I could go to anything to like learn more, practice more, like I just always wanted to do my best for whoever I'm treating. Like that's a big deal to me. I want to be as excellent as possible for any person I see because it's their face that is,
Girl,
you know. So I'm
girl.
like, I can't play around.
no.
It's not a joke.
And I'm glad you say you want to do your best because
Yeah.
there's so many out here who are not doing their best. And I think you have such a beautiful face. I don't know if you do anything to your face, but you've been speaking about the human aspect of it. And I think that because social media has, almost distorted our perception of what it looks like to get these type of procedures. When you see someone who has like a really beautiful face and maybe they are doing some slight enhancements and doing things to preserve their beauty and their youth. It's like, okay, this can be done in a tasteful way
Right.
that, you can have it be a part of your life and not look like a completely different person. So, to your point of doing your best, how do we know how to choose a good practitioner? Like, what's the process to knowing, okay, I got a good injector, I got a good nurse who cares about me?
Yes. And there's a lot of things. I'm going to totally talk about this, and I'm also going to talk about it in the context for like women of color,
Mm.
as here we sit. And I will say in this industry, so I've been in it 11 years, and I've seen a shift for sure. Because when I started, I could count like on my hands how many people of color I was seeing in my chair, and it wasn't that many. It has definitely progressed. So I'm so excited. Just we'll go over this now. But I think big things to think about are first and foremost, like when you guys talked about licensing, like that is the first thing. Like, what is their education? What's their background? Are they licensed to perform these procedures? In my mind, I'm like, of course, anybody doing this is licensed. No, because I have patients come to me and it's really sad, and they'll be like, look, I went, I got this thing. It was $200. I got a discount. This girl, I did it in her house. I did it in the backyard. I did it in the hotel. I'm like, can you tell me more? That it was in some red cups. Like, they can't even tell me what was injected into them. They don't know. I'm like, well, can we talk to that provider? She fled the country. She,
Oh,
like, all these things. And it's really scary. And I'm like, these products are very likely not approved to be injected in the face. And so now I don't know what's in your face. I don't know if we can take this down. I don't know if I can help you, or if this is more of a surgical thing that you're going to have to do. And the money it's going to cost, I'm like, you paid $200 there. Like, for me to fix it's going to be like 10 times more than that.
Yeah.
So if you would have just done it right the first time, it's a big thing. So definitely making sure they're licensed, that's a big deal. And I think that's common knowledge, but it's not, just because I see those cases come in. And it's really sad. It's unfortunate. So license, look at their experience, read reviews. So you can look on Yelp, Google. If you have a referral from a friend, it's a big deal. If your friend can say, like, if they share, yes, I've done X, Y, and Z, this is who I go to, this is who I trust, that's also very helpful. Um, Look at the injector's face. Like, that's a big deal, because a lot of injectors are going to inject the way, like, on themselves. What they get is what they think is looks right, and so that's what they're going to put out.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that my way is the only way, because some people will think, my aesthetic preferences are too minimal. There's some people that are like, no, I want bigger lips or whatever. So you just have to find someone you resonate with and then ask questions, like do a consult. I tell patients, I'm like, I probably talk way too much and it's probably annoying. One, I put out a ton of videos every day because I'm constantly trying to educate. But two, I want you to understand what I'm thinking about for you specifically in this moment today and why, you're thinking you want whatever treatment and I'm thinking, okay, that may work, or we may need to consider X, Y, and Z, or you're not a candidate for this, or here's my limitations on what I can do with it. And I'm
Yeah.
going to explain it all so that we can make an informed decision and like have that conversation about if this is right now. I
Yeah.
said a lot, sorry. And then, so that's like baseline. And we should, like, we can also talk about for women of color specifically.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm like, make sure it doesn't have to be like, oh, I'm a black girl, so I need to see a black girl. However, in my clinic, we see like a lot of black girls, brown girls, because they're just like, I don't see people that look like me in this space. I've never seen, I've had Indian girls say, I've never seen another Indian woman with my features until I scrolled on your page. And
Mm.
like, people are going to feel more comfortable if they can see faces that look like theirs, someone that can consider, what are their cultural ideals of beauty. Just can they feel at ease talking and like having a conversation, all the things. So I think it doesn't have to be a black provider or a brown provider, but just making sure, have they treated faces that look like yours? Do
Mm.
you like the outcome of that? If we're talking about lasers, if we're talking about, skin treatments, are they treating black and brown skin? Because there's considerations we have to take when doing the treatments. It's not the same. Like what I do with when I grab a laser or microneedle, all the things, there's things we have to take, precautions we have to take. And so if you're getting with somebody that doesn't know that, that's where things can get sticky.
Yeah. Yeah. Get a black provider, y'all. If you listen to this show, you're a black girl.
Yes.
We have one here.
I know, because it's so easy to go anywhere and think you're going to get the desired results, and I can say I'm sure a lot of people didn't get the results that they desired. When I'm looking, I'm like, is that what you wanted?
Yeah.
Or what
It's
what's
sad.
going on? Okay, so Janelle, facial balancing has been all the rage. We see the girls are like, I'm going to get my face balanced, and there's a combination of things that happen to achieve the facial balancing. Can you explain what facial balancing is? And if you have someone, if I come in and I'm like, hey girl, I want to get my face balanced, what do you what do you take into consideration? What does that look like? And then what procedures do you perform to balance the face?
Okay. So I do think you're right. Like that's the trending word on social. And so I'll say it because I feel like people say it and they resonate with it. But I tell them when I'm like sitting with them in the chair, I'm like, all that means is that we're assessing you, your face right now. We're considering your background, your lifestyle. Are you changing weight? What is going on? Like, are you prepping for something? I'm looking at you and your features. Like it's very specific to that patient. We're making sure that, your features are like not one part of the face is dominating in a way. So a lot of times people will say lip filler, lip filler, lip filler, and or smile line filler. Like they will think about one part of their face that they see that is concerning them. And I let them know all of our face all plays a role. Like these, smile lines, these are going to be getting deeper as we lose volume through here. So we might be looking at softening shadows through the mid face. As we go bigger on your lips, it can look cool from the front, but I want to make sure from the side you have like the lower face support. So the lips are not overpowering the lower face, or a word people say is like ducky. It doesn't look ducky from the side. It doesn't look super telling. Like, yeah, we can make you like have your lips pop, but I want to make sure it all blends. I will see over time people will get lips, and then they have like these sagging corners of their mouth, their chin is set back, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't look right.
You
Like
didn't
it
you
doesn't
didn't do
look
the full
right.
enchilada. You
I
didn't do the full
know.
enchilada.
Yeah.
It never does.
So I'm like, it's not, you have to bring it together. Consider if we're treating one area, how does this impact other areas of our face? Because our full face is changing as we get older. So that is the big thing with patients. It's like, it's people like, I just want my face snatched, or I want it balanced. I'm like, okay, let's talk about what that means to you. And I'm again looking at them. If people, if they're coming to me and they've lost 30 pounds, their face is going to look different. They're going to notice volume loss through here, here, here. if they're 40 versus 20, like all of the things play a role. So it's just basically meaning a customized assessment to you, seeing how your features harmonize together. Yeah.
This is why you need to go see a professional. You need to go see someone who has an ethical practice, because I think a lot of us go in and we just say, I want to look like this. And we bring a picture off of Instagram or like of
Mm-hmm.
a celebrity that we like. And that's nothing like what our natural face gives. And that's when people start to look distorted and like a totally different version of themselves that might not be as aesthetically pleasing like they thought, because there's no one like the professional to be there to assess and also guide you, like, you know what, I know this is what you probably want, but let me tell you what you really need.
Yeah.
Let me hold your hand while I say this.
Right. Have you experienced that in your own practice where maybe you're having people come in and they're like, "Girl, this filter makes me look this way and I would love to achieve these results in real life." Like how are you as a practitioner approaching this idea of like social media standards, right, based on these fillers and then people having, coming in real life? What does that look like in the office?
Yes. So this happens every day, and people are like, I want this filter. I will tell you, my patients are like amazing. My patients are really great. They are very educated, mostly because before they come see me, they've already looked at a lot of videos. They were like, I've been following her for a while, or I catch your lives. And then I consult with everyone before they come in, whether we do a video consult like this, or if they send pictures and I make a video response back to them. I want people to be as prepared as possible, and I will always let them know the limitations of the treatments. And I also let them know because they will say, "Do I need X, Y, and Z?" I'm like, "We none of us need it. Like,
Hmm.
you are beautiful without any of this. We're gonna continue to age, and like that is fine. Like God is shining on you. You're great. But if you want this, if you are, you're noticing some of those changes to your face as we're aging or with weight loss or whatever is going on, lifestyle wise, here's how we can approach it. Um, Big things I have to let people know are this: there are limitations. So a lot of people will show me the filter and I'm like, I have no, like, I want this and I have no smile lines. I'm like, that's cool. However, in life, we are smiling, we are talking, we are going to have lines. If I sit here and fill this all the way out, it
Mm.
will almost look like, I don't know, like it's going to look off.
Yeah.
And people will stare at you for a minute too long because they can't figure out what it
What's
is
going
because it
on?
looks
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I never want things to look like that. I tell them, if it's the smile lines, we can soften them. We can put support under them so they don't collapse so much. My goal is not to have the line all the way gone from your face. And I
Mm.
have to be real. And I had this conversation with a patient recently, and because she was like, I still want these lines gone, long, gone, gone. And I was like, we have softened them. And I showed the before and after because people also will forget what their baseline is. So I showed the before and after, and she was like, oh, wow, like it's really soft. I was like, now look, it's getting to the point where I don't want to soften this more. You're not going to have expression. It's going to look weird. And
Yeah.
she later wrote on like one of my videos, she's like, thank you so much. You saved me because we were talking about the smile lines. And I was like, don't do it. It's going to look overfilled. It's going to look bad. Like, I'd rather you have some lines as opposed to looking weird for having no lines.
Yeah.
Yeah. A overdone look.
It
Yeah. So it's just having those conversations.
Yeah, I love that you have those conversations, because I feel like a lot of people aren't having them. I really feel like that's what's missing. Like, of course, they want to make the patient or the client happy, but then the end result, it's like, now, what happened here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um. Okay, so you mentioned like the different types of Botox. What are the different types of fillers? Because I'm seeing a lot about the different types of fillers, and like I said in the beginning, I'm ignorant to it all. I know that there's like the under eye, the lip fillers, but are there like different types that give different results or have like a different effect on the body? How does
Yes.
it work?
Um, so a couple of things I will mention because a lot of patients are like, a lot of people are just like, yeah, I don't know. I want to do something. I don't know what. And I let people know it doesn't have to just be like Botox and filler. There's also all natural alternatives because not everybody is ready. Some people are like, I still don't know if I want that because everyone I think that gets filler they think everyone that gets filler looks crazy. I'm like, it doesn't have to look like that. I can also tell you guys I've got my whole face filled. I'll go through all that if you want. But
We want.
there,
We want
she's
you
like
answer.
telling off.
We want your treatment
Okay.
We
plan.
want
Um,
a line
so
by line item, please.
I it gets people start looking at me like, what have you not filled? And I'm like, nothing. Like, so I'll talk about the all natural one because I think that is a nice spot for people that are so afraid of looking overdone or looking crazy or having this look that they think is going to look bad, where they're just like, oh, there's something all natural. It's made completely from me. So there's one where we draw your blood, we spin it in the centrifuge, we take out the growth factors, the stem cells, we heat it so it makes a gel-like consistency, and then we inject that in the same areas I would do filler. So very commonly people will come in for like under eyes, the smile lines, corners of the mouth, to soften some of these shadows. I think for people that are like, I don't want filler either ever, or they're not candidates for filler, or for whatever, they're just like, I want to test this first, or they want collagen stimulation, that's a nice route to go. So made completely from you, it'll stimulate collagen over time. You'll get a little bit of a lift, but it's not the same lift as I would expect with regular fillers. So hyaluronic acid, we have calcium-based fillers I'll talk to you in a second about. But I just want people to know there's like alternatives, and we can meet people where they're at,
Mm.
which is just nice because a lot of people are like, I want to do something. I just don't know if I want Botox or I don't want filler or I don't, I'm like, okay, it's okay. Even if it's just talking about what you're doing at home skin wise,
Yeah.
like we should be having these conversations just so you can maintain and preserve or, fight these signs of aging that you're seeing if you choose. So
So
that's
what's
one
that one
thing.
called? What's that one called? The
That one you can look up. There's different brands. The main thing that you can do with that, like different companies will say, use our tubes, basically.
okay.
The tubes that we use in our office are called Easy Gel, but it's just a plain tube. It's just like I bought their tubes and I bought their spinning system. There's other brands of that. But the main thing, if you go somewhere, because there's other brands of the spinner and the tubes, is just saying, I want the all natural filler. PRF, that means platelet rich fibrin, or PRP, platelet rich plasma, all made from you. Those are the terms to like look for when you're researching this. If you say all natural, I just want the one made for me, what can that be? That's going to be the route.
Okay.
I like that. And we haven't seen many adverse effects on that, right?
No, no, it's made all from you. So limitations there, I tell patients, younger, healthier patients are going to have better outcomes than, and I have a 75-year-old smoker that's diabetic. I'm
Plasma
like,
ain't good. Okay.
yeah, I'm like, I don't know how much your body's going to make new collagen. You're not going to have the same growth factors, same stem cells, the same nutrients in your blood to like get a lift. You
Yeah.
can do it. There's no saying you can't do it. I just don't know how great those outcomes will be.
And
Um,
when you say age, is there a certain like kind of window? Like after 50, we probably don't recommend taking it from your
It's
blood.
PRP.
hard because I have some 50-year-olds that are like, I'm super healthy, I'm taking vitamins, I eat so clean, like I'm not
Yeah.
on anything. And I'm like, well, and I can see, like, we can see when we draw the blood, the quality of
Oh,
their platelet rich fibrin. It's like this pretty gold color. We've done like a smoker before. It was like almost gray, where I'm like, I don't know how this is gonna work. So it's just something to keep in mind. Not saying they cannot do it if you're unhealthy or if you're older. You just might not get the same
Effects.
results.
results.
Okay.
Hmm.
So case by
Um,
case there.
I need to
Case by
check that
case, but people love it. So I've done that. I did it 1 week ago exact. I've done it several times. I'm breastfeeding right now, so I can't do filler. I've been doing this one for the past, like I've done it like 4 times. I've done my under eyes with it, my temples, my cheeks, my corners of my mouth, the smile lines, the chin. And those areas, I've treated all those same spots with filler for the past several years. Like and I have pictures. I need to send you guys a photo so you can show my before photos. I
Yes.
Yeah.
look like me, but like it was just more sunken. Like, and I was younger. I had like deep line on my head. I breastfed, so I lost a lot of weight.
Yeah.
Changed weight with the pregnancies, and so I just want to show you my photos. I will send them to you guys
Yeah, we would
Yes.
love
always.
to
Because
see
right
them.
now you're selling it. I'm ready to
No,
get my blood drawn.
Right. I've
this is
never
like
had
too
filler
awesome.
before.
I'm ready to get my blood drawn, and I'm ready to fill some things up with
Yeah,
filler.
it's not, and like it's gonna look like you if you're doing this right, seeing the right provider, not rushing the treatments. I tell people don't rush it. Like we didn't age overnight. Like don't rush this. That's where people mess up, and don't overdo it. Recognize their limitations. As
Yeah.
long as people are doing that, they're gonna have a great outcome. I'm like, read my patient reviews, look at their photos. These patients come from all over the world. Every single day I'm in clinic, somebody has their bags and they have got off the plane for their treatment, and they make their own videos. I'm online, but I'm like, oh, they're tagging me. So it's like real people? Like that's what you want to make sure. When
Yeah.
you see people that look like you, what do they look like? Are they happy? All the things.
Yeah.
And I and that's what it is. So there, so that was, I mean, I got off the question.
I
That was
love
that
that.
was
I
the
love
PR.
that.
That was the natural. Okay, so then what are the other ones?
So other fillers that you can consider are hyaluronic acid fillers. I forget how many we have in the US. We have maybe like 20 that are FDA approved, and there's different brands of fillers. And then within each brand, so a Juvederm brand, a Restylane brand, um, within each brand, they'll have different fillers. So some are thinner, some are more robust, some are going to be closer that I want to like, I'm going to use something different in the lips versus the under eye. Lips maybe a little bit softer, and I'm going to use a different lip product on, a black girl with full lips versus, a 75-year-old white woman
Mm.
that is like her lips are curling in and they're thinner. All like this is on the provider at this point. The provider needs to be able to know, look at this face. How am I going to be able to get this outcome? I can't use the same product on every face. What is her goal? And you could have a twin sister and you guys have different goals, and I use different products just depending on the face.
Mm.
So there are different ones within each line, and it's I tell people, like, people don't come to me and say I want X, Y, and Z filler. They're really like trusting my expertise to be like, oh, she's going to choose the right one for me, but I can't choose the right one until I have the conversation with the
Yeah.
patient about what the goals are, what are they noticing. I will talk to them about what I see on their face. I will talk to them about what is happening underneath the skin and where we're seeing aging, and then we say, okay, where should we start today? And and hey, okay, I'm thinking this product for you, but I want to let you know this product I think is going to give you a little more lifting than this one. I would choose this. However, this product that I would choose does swell more, and it's more noticeable for like a week or two than this other one. How do you feel about that? Some
Yeah.
people are like, I don't care if I'm swollen for a week or two. I want to get the result that, and I don't want to have to like do more. Other people are like, oh, I'm too nervous to swell. I'll do the lighter one, and I know it won't lift as much, but I don't want to be swollen because I don't want anyone to know. So there's so much to like unpack when I'm picking a product, when I'm choosing it for you on this day. That's why I'm not talk too much because I'm thinking so much.
No, not at all. I think that what we can appreciate and when you're looking for a practitioner, somebody who's doing your injections, is someone who does take the time and they are so intentional about what it is that they're doing, because it's not like a frivolous fly by night decision. I know that people approach it that way, but at the end of the day, like, you are injecting your body, right, with a product, and you want someone who is being mindful and empathetic and compassionate and, to what it is that you want to do. And I think what is best is having an individualized treatment plan. I don't want
Yes.
a practitioner to treat me like they treated like the last person. Like, I have a different goals, different face, different experience,
Yes.
like you said, different lifestyle. So that approach of like creating a very individualistic plan of care is, give me
Yeah.
That's
15 of
it.
them.
That's exactly what it is. That's why I tell people, I'm like, I put so much out. I want to come before you even come to clinic. Like, as much as I can prepare you, like I said, whether we get on a call or whether you send your photos and I send you a video back, my team, we send out a bunch of info because I'm like, whatever you can do to prepare, and just know this is the start of us talking about your treatment plan. But when I see you in person, we may change some things. And then when I see you at your next visit, you may be like, oh, I didn't talk about this, but now I'm seeing this. And we could uncover other things.
Yeah.
It's always a conversation. These people I've been seeing for my whole career, every 3, 4 months, every time they come in, it is still a conversation. And we're talking about, how was this? Should I adjust anything? Oh, you're prepping for something. Oh, all the stuff. It
Speaking
plays a
about
role every time.
adjustment, I think that, like, we're presuming or even having this conversation from the perspective of somebody who's never gotten injections, right? But imagine those people who come in and they're coming to you from outside and they've gotten a lot of things done. What's that conversation when it's like, so there's this whole idea of like blank blindness, right? Blush blindness, eyebrow blindness, hair blindness, where you really don't see what it is other people are seeing. And maybe your shit is not as beat as you thought it was.
Yeah.
You could be more overdone. What's that process of like, actually, from my perspective, I think we need to dissolve. I think we need to
Yeah.
go back a little bit and
Yeah.
reclaim some things before we can start all over. What does that look like? Because I know some people who need a little dissolving.
A reassess.
Yes,
Hmm.
we have that conversation. So if they're ending up in my chair, it's like, well, why are you here? Not in like a mean way, but like, how did you end up here? Something you're switching it up on your provider, which
Yeah.
is fine. Let's talk. And sometimes like, oh, they just can't get what I want. And sometimes I'm like, I also like I need to understand, what do you want? Is this something we can do? If this is something that's offline and they're just like, I don't care, I want my lips bigger. I'm like, dude, I won't even touch it. I will tell people no. People make videos about that all the time. I wanted this, she said no. And it's not in a mean way because again, I know this is just one perspective, my perspective, but I'm like, I want it to look natural. I want it to look fresh. I want it to look like you as much as I can. And I don't want to be causing issues later. Like if I keep just pumping lips and it's puffy, it's not achieving what you want. It's not getting bigger here. It's puffy up there. That
Right.
looks off.
Yeah.
We will have those conversations about, hey, what you're trying to achieve, I can't do. Here's limitations, blah, blah, blah. Hey, I really think to get you your best outcome, you need to dissolve. If you want me to be able to try to fix your border, you want it sharper. Well, right now it looks overfilled. So even if I went in there and put some more, it's not going to make it sharp. Even if you think I've got magic hands, which I don't, it's not going to make it sharp. Realistically, this is too full. In
Yeah.
order to redo this, we got to start at baseline. So this is taking it down. I can help you dissolve, or you can see the provider that you saw to help you dissolve, but we can't recreate a sharp border if it's already blunted.
Yeah.
There's limitations here. So I will be real. I have to be real with people because I'm like, if I put it out there, I have to believe in it. I have to believe it's going to get the outcome, and I have to be able to like stand behind my work.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to do the right thing
Yeah.
every time.
'Cause
Yeah.
I know
So
somebody who got a, and child, they went to their injector to get more, and instead of saying no, they gave them a lip flip. Jesus. Now
Oh.
yeah,
you didn't even have to do
yeah,
that.
yeah. It's I know it's hard because I know sometimes people be like, but I just want X, Y, and Z, and I'm like, we will have those conversations. But I'm like, this is not going to solve it, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And there's definitely things. Sometimes I have young girls in there, 18, they can come. And I'm just like, what are you? Like, you're so beautiful. They're like, I saw you on, I'm like, no, don't see me. Block my
Yes.
page. That's not it. Like, I'm like, that's not it. Let's
And I
talk
want to
about some
get into that.
sunscreen. Let's talk about some retinol. But like,
Mhm.
you can do a hydra facial. Go get your face wiped down if they want to do something.
Yeah.
But I will also tell people, hey, no, I don't. I'll tell them no, and
Yeah.
we'll have that conversation. But again, it's not to be mean, no.
No.
I'm glad you said that because preventative care is all the rage to the point where girls that are in their early 20s are getting the preventative Botox, or even 18. I mean, we saw Kylie Jenner.
I know.
She was 18 and she had the full enchilada on her face. And now she's like coming out and speaking about
The
the
effects, what she's
effects
dealing
and
with.
what she's dealing with because of like going in so early. So, as a professional, like, when does the preventative start? Should we be starting that young, like in our 20s, getting the preventative? Like, does it need to start at 30? I know everyone's different, so there's probably not just one age, like, start here. But how does that work when we're younger and we're like, preventative?
I feel
Because,
like at 20 something, you need to not be in the chair. Don't be on the table. At 20,
So, yeah, I see. It's
maybe if
just,
the face is just down and in the
if
dumps,
you had a
but
hard
it's
knock.
so, it's like, again, it's so case by case.
yeah.
I think preventative, when I'm talking to somebody like that, and a lot of times when I'm like, you're in here and your face is perfect and you're so beautiful, baby, like, what are you doing? That's when I'm like, let's use some sunscreen. Look at the retinol, go, they can clean out your pores.
Hmm.
Um, it's more that route, and it's definitely not like they're not having to fill at this point. I mean, I will tell, like, I don't tout this ever. I don't even think I've ever said it on any podcast. Like, I have treated a 14-year-old for a nose filler. She came, and I have treated her mom, her husband, the mom, the daddy, the grandma for a long time. And they said to me, Janelle, the daughter is getting bullied at school
Oh,
because of her nose. She comes home every day and she cries. And I was like, what? And they're like, we got her pictures taken for her sports, and the team edited her nose straight, and the girl is just crying every day. Now, again, I have a relationship with these people because I've been treating these adults for a long time.
Yeah.
They were like, we would never allow her to like get nose job, and like, even this, we're only doing it because we know you. And
Yeah.
like, would you even take this on? And again, in my mind, do I ever say like, I'm going to treat teenagers? No. But I
Right.
was like, all right, like that's a case by case situation where it's like, it was a little bump on her nose. We made it straight. The girl was so happy. Like the messages I heard from the parents after, they're just like, you don't understand. Like she's I don't want to say she's like trying to hurt herself, but she's so sad before
Yeah.
versus she can just feel more confident over something so minor. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? But to her that was not minor. So
Yeah.
it's a
And it was a less
conversation.
invasive fix. Like you
Yeah.
can't go get a
Yes.
nose job at 14 Bookie, but I'ma spare you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead and
So
get
it
this
was her
done.
little thing. It's hyaluronic acid. We have it in our bodies. It's a sugar molecule. We can break it down. Like it can be dissolved if she wanted. She really liked it. And that lasts her 2 years. Like,
Mm.
and you know what I mean? That's a story. That's a case by case. So I will have those. Now I've had a girl that was 17 and she was just like, I just want my lips bigger. And like her parents were on this call and they were like, we don't really know, but she wants to talk to you. And I was like, it wasn't a bully thing. They were like, she's probably the bully. They're like, honestly, I was like, no, like we can't do this.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah,
You know
you
what I
gotta use
mean?
your clinical expertise and also ethically, morally, how
Yeah.
would approach a situation with a small child or a younger person. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
But for most of the patients that will come in to see me are like, it's like mid to late 20s in their 30s. Like a lot of people start coming 28 to 30-ish, 35, 34. That's where a lot of my patients start coming in. And again, they look great. It's like they look like y'all. And they're just like, it's just like, oh, I'm just starting to see, whatever they're starting to see, something minor. They're like, I'm like, I know nobody's going to see this on you. Your friends are going to think you're crazy. Your mama probably doesn't know you're here right now. All the things, they're like, nobody knows, but it's for them. And I'm like, I get it because we're doing things not to like change your face up. All this stuff. Again, I see women of color every day. I'm like, what's your mama saying to me? I don't want mamas coming to me. And they're like, oh, she didn't know.
Yeah.
One girl was like, my mom said to me, you've really grown into your nose. She's
Oh,
like, I got nose filler with you.
Right.
She's
Right.
like, another one, like, those are the comments. One girl said, one mom I just talked to last week, and she was like, I'm coming to see you. She's like, I found your page and I told my daughter I'm going to come see you. And she's like, oh, mom, I've been seeing her. She
period.
was like, I
You
had
late
no
to the
idea. She's
party.
like, I've been looking at her like, oh, she looks fresh, but I don't think she would ever do anything. That's it. I'm like, your mama's not gonna
I
know,
like
or your
that.
mama's gonna want to come and do it. They tell me the moms don't know, and like if your mom doesn't know, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Because
I
I'm
take
like,
a fresh
no, she won't.
approach. I feel like I've always
Absolutely.
been a girl who's I'm very natural girl. I err on the side of I really don't want to fuck nothing up, so I probably
Yeah.
won't try things. I'm risk averse as well.
Hmm.
But I'm so happy that you're informing us and educating us because I have just taken the approach of like, no, I
Yeah.
hate the
Uh,
way it looks. But yeah, the freshness as you age, because the truth of the matter is we are aging and we are getting older and it's showing on our faces. And some of us are more blessed than others where it doesn't look as, we look
yes.
better than we are or whatever.
Yeah.
But to be honest, somebody like Jada Pinkett and Gammy, I don't know how they're maintaining. I know they're doing a
Yeah.
little
They're
B,
doing
a little
something.
PRP. Is I need their treatment plan. Yours as well.
Yeah.
Gammy
Okay.
and Jada's.
We want to know what's your what do you have?
Oh, I have done my whole face. So I was like 27 or 28, somewhere in there. I think that's around when I had my first one and stopped breastfeeding. So I have done under eye filler. I used to be way more sunken through here. It was just, especially after the baby, I was smiling. It was just
I
like
have
sunk
that.
in.
That's how I am.
Um, my cheeks are already full, but after the baby, it's like this line from the under eye through the cheeks. I was
Mhm.
starting to like get, and it was just like
Um,
more of a shadow. So I put filler here. The corners of my mouth, like again, I was saying little shadows where you get older, starting to downturn. I put there. This is all with filler. And I've done the same stuff with the all natural filler. Chin, so my lips are naturally full, cheeks are full, and then my chin was like a little short. A lot of black girls and black men actually have like shorter, or chins are shorter.
I have
Um,
her chin.
pretty
so
eye.
I would always like, I didn't know what I was doing, but when I would try to take like, oh, this is my like cute picture, my mouth was always kind of open. But
Mm-hmm.
now that I know what I know about aesthetics, I was trying to like give myself that length when I was like trying to be the cute girl. So I was like, okay, so I've done chin filler, temple filler. This is where when I do lose weight, I hollow out here a lot. so I get more sunken there. Um, I think those are the filler spots. Only part I haven't done filler is my lips and my nose. And I would do my nose, but it looks like my kids. I'm Filipino and black, so it's kind of wide. So I'm like, like I guess I can look like my kids, so I won't mess with them.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
I think it's like
Um,
cultural too, right?
yeah.
Like
yeah.
you can appreciate your features, and that's what's important is understanding your own cultural reference or
Yes.
perception of beauty. So I think your nose is cute as a button.
I
Yeah.
just left it, but when I do the black girl noses or brown girl noses and they get that little highlight, I'm like, should I do my nose? It's all these things. Like you guys, if you look at the before and afters, we'll show you. I'm like, it's gonna look like you. It's no one's gonna know because I ask my patients, what are your mom? What is your friend saying? What is everyone saying? And they're like, no one knew, but I got carded. Oh, they said, did you change your hair? Did you change your makeup? They're like, oh, you're aging backwards. Like nobody knows. Oh, you're always so fresh. That's the thing. When
That's
I do filler, like my temples, I remember I went to go get the mail from our gate, and the guy was like, package. He's like, can your mom come sign for this? I was like,
I
Oh,
am the mom.
I'm
yeah.
36, but no, I'm having 37. I don't know how old I'm at. 36. I was like, show me, go get it right now.
Yeah.
I went to my son's school, and he's a K through 12 school, and they told me to pick him up from the nurse. I went to the nurse's office. She was like yelling. She's like, stay out, stay back. And I was like, okay, lady. Like, I guess she's busy in there. And she came out. She's like, what are you here for? I was like, I'm getting my son. And she was like, I'm so sorry. I thought you were a student. She's like, I apologize. Because they're K through 12. I was like,
Yeah.
you really think I was a student? I'm like, hey, I'll
Giving
take it.
senior
Looking
energy.
You know,
fresh.
Yeah.
I'm like, I will go for it. I'm like, the student walked by, and they're like, what grade are you in? I was like, seventh. Like, I don't know. Like, but I was like, oh, it's a random comments, where
Yeah.
you're like, okay, I can tell when I did this little, it's like a little bit more youthful. It's a thing the patient will notice and they will appreciate and they feel like they're not, because if they're seeing it in the mirror, it's like, oh, all of a sudden it doesn't bother me, or I don't have to try
Mhm.
to put the makeup to try to create the
Yeah.
highlight.
Yeah.
They're not like fixated on that spot. They're just like, yeah, I can go out and like they feel more confident.
Yeah.
It's a very personal thing.
It is. Germany had mentioned like being risk adverse, and I know I said at the top that top of the episode that I'm risk adverse when it comes to my face too. Um, so what are some risks that are associated with
All
fillers
of those
and
things.
Botox? Like I've seen videos of like the filler migrating, and that's
Yeah.
scary.
Yes. Okay, let's talk through there. So main thing with any cosmetic injections, I tell people, I'm like, bruising and swelling, that's going to be a given. So, if you're planning to do this, just give yourself a few weeks before major events in case your bruise or swollen.
Hmm.
Now, when it comes to safety, and I go over this with every patient, with filler, what we want to make sure is that we're not blocking blood flow off. We've got blood vessels all over our face, all over our body. We don't want to put too much filler in any spot that blood can't move like normal.
Mm.
So we are looking for the skin color to be normal. You shouldn't have extreme pain. You shouldn't have any vision issues. If you had any of those things, it can mean blood cannot flow like its normal thing. And at
Hmm.
that point, we dissolve it.
Yeah.
So I just tell people, I'm like, this is really rare. In my 11 years, I've never had to dissolve anyone, any area of the face, any filler for any emergency. So it's really rare. But I'm like, these are medical procedures. I need you to stay in LA for at least a day in case there was an issue. I need to be able to take care of you and take it down.
Yeah.
Um, so that is with filler. The filler migration, which I know gets a lot of attention online, that is people overfilling, like doing too much too fast and just not understanding the limits. They just think if I keep putting more on my lips are going to just keep stretching out. At a certain point, it's not. There's going to go where there's space. There's space above up
Oh,
here. So
gotcha.
that's why it looks puffy on that person because they keep trying to fill and it won't. So it's up here. Now, filler, I think if you place it, if you're not messing with it during the healing time, because it's a gel, I tell people this is moldable. I don't want you pressing on this. It's moldable for like a month, but it's pretty hard to move it at a month out. But like those first few weeks, don't press on it. Don't go to a sauna. Don't exercise. Try not to cry. Try not to get super sweaty. Like I don't want to prolong swelling. I also don't want you doing gua sha. You're gonna
Right.
move it. I'm like, yeah, you can lose the projection. We're trying to create a lifted effect. You can
Wow.
misplace it. So I tell people, sleep on your back, hands off. Like we go through all this before, during, after the treatment, so they can just, and then we send it to when they go home. So I'm like, hands off, don't mess with it. I see people online. messing with their lips after they get filler, just like
Yeah.
random videos. And I'm like, oh,
You
well, that's
fucked
why it
it
looks
everything up.
puffy.
Yeah.
That's why it looks like that.
Yeah.
Like, stop. Just don't. I don't know what is going on.
And stay under
So,
the care of a professional.
Yeah.
yeah,
Stay under
follow whatever your provider advises.
ethics.
Yeah.
Um, Botox, the things that are like what you want to make sure is just placement is right. So we're trying to weaken certain parts of certain muscles. Um, if you do too much on the forehead and it's too strong, it can feel heavy, like push down.
Mm,
So the provider needs to be looking at, your natural movement, not going too close to the brow so it doesn't push down, making sure they go not just in the middle and not if they skip out here, it's going to look like that.
mm,
Really, really rare for eyelid ptosis. Ptosis means like drooping of your eyelid. Extremely rare. I tell people that's just like if it randomly gets in this muscle that connects to the eyelid. If
Right.
something like that happens, there's ways to correct it. And the cool thing about Botox is it's not a permanent thing. This is going to last a few months. It's going to wear off, and you're going to go back to your baseline. Overall, they're very safe if you are seeing a person that does this, they know what they're doing. They're using products that are FDA approved. We have a lot of limitations in the United States about which products that are approved. If you go to other countries, they are like, we've got hundreds of fillers and all that. It's just, there's just a more strenuous process to be like, is this safe to use on our patients? So that is one thing, the products are safe. They've done studies on these. I will say in the studies that I get, this is a whole nother rant box, but like sometimes I'm like, let me read that study. Like, how many women of color are in that? That's where I, as a provider who treats women of color, am like, I need to understand how this works in my patients that I'm seeing because you're telling me this is going to lift lips, but all the photos you are showing me are people with thin lips that are only white.
right.
That's not going to do who I'm seeing.
We need
So
more
that's
support for these coolers. So,
that's what I'm saying. So this is like really on the provider to like they have to be on their game,
They
understanding
do.
the products. How is it? Because I'm always challenging the companies. Like you guys can't send me this trainer on this product, and I say, okay, this is cool. You're telling me to use one syringe to create a jawline, but like that's not going to work on my girls that are 30 that are black. We have more fat in our faces. And they're like, oh yeah, most of my patients are like 50 to 75 white women. We don't have fat. Very different treatment plan.
Yeah.
Like that product, I can't use it the same. So that's really on the provider, understanding how to use the product in the faces they're seeing, all the stuff, what limitations. Yeah, there's a lot with it.
There is. You have to be knowledgeable. Number one, and always, I feel like because medicine is always changing, whether it's like aesthetic
Yes.
or, acute care, whatever it is, it's always changing. And we have to make sure that we're choosing a provider who cares about education and really willing to keep themselves updated and informed. Because you got some people who are using some dated ass fucking
Yes.
techniques
yeah.
and
Our
products.
products, yeah.
Yeah.
Just because it's a little cheaper. And I'm like, it's not cheaper in the end.
Yeah. And
You
I
didn't
feel
get
like
them the outcome.
you
You
can
got to
mitigate.
dissolve that.
Yeah, you can mitigate a lot of what we're seeing. I know that there's been a lot of talk about the long-term effect of filler, right? And how Botox has been around for so long, but filler and the way that we're using it is a little more new than Botox. I feel like a lot of the kind of concerns can be mitigated by having someone who understands what they're doing, being very conservative with the way that you're injecting and doing it over a slower period of
Yes.
time.
I
Yeah.
tell people, I'm like, don't rush it. Like, I love this stuff. I got all this stuff in my face. I do it on my family. I do it on all these patients, everybody around. I trust this, but like, we are not rushing it. I tell them, I'm like, be annoyed with me because I'm going too slow. I don't want you annoyed with me because we did too much and I got to fix it. No, I don't
Yeah,
want to do that. I don't want to put them through it.
let's
So,
assist.
yeah, I'm like, go slow. This is a treatment plan. You will get your results. We're going to get there. But like, we're not, we're going to not rush this. That's a big
Takes
thing.
time.
So a lot of people feel like getting these procedures have an effect on self-esteem and confidence because once like we dip our toe in the water, we may become dependent on them to like
Mhm.
feel good about ourselves. What do you say about those perspectives? Like, have you had those conversations?
Yes. Again, this is like it's so personal. And I tell people, like, I don't want you like just it's so hard because I know a lot of times they do this and they're like, oh my gosh, just helps me feel better because I can look at my face. People tell me they never take pictures, they don't want to look at themselves because they feel so sad. And so I'm like, this is not gonna like this syringe and this Botox is not gonna solve all of your problems. And I don't want you to rely on this to solve those problems. Like some of this is more like deeply rooted where it's, well, I will sit there and say, hey, have you, had a conversation with a mental health therapist? Like we will have these talks. That's what I'm saying. So much goes into it, each person. Um, it's hard because I've definitely seen these where people are like, I feel confident. I can take the photos. I can show up to work, whatever their thing is. Because of the treatment, they feel more confident. But again, if it becomes this thing where they're relying on like this is going to solve it, I'm like, I will have to clue in and be like, I don't think this is going to do it because it's not. And if it doesn't solve their problem, then guess what? Like they're going to think this made their problem. So we just have to have those conversations every time. That again is on the provider to like be assessing the person in the chair and what is going on, what's driving them to get these treatments. What like it was like how you have to get a sense for it. That's why I'm like talking to them all the time. I need to know like I'm asking when they're there, I'm like, oh, like, oh, so what do you do? Where are you from? Like, oh, tell me about your background. I'm getting clued in on their life and what's going on and why they're doing all the things. If somebody's just like down in the downtrodden and they think this is going to solve it, that is not it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not. And
I
I tell them straight up.
I think my biggest takeaway, or not what I think, I believe my biggest takeaway and what I've learned the most from this conversation with you is that it's not really what you're doing to your face, it's who's doing it. I don't really think it's a matter of like what you're, because if you have the right practitioner, like in licensed inject person who's injecting you, then they're gonna like make sure that they're achieving the results. It's not really like what you're doing, it's who's behind the needle.
Who and
I
how?
think it's a big deal.
Yes, the
The who
who
and
and the
how.
Big
how.
deal.
Because I will
Yes.
say that I came into this conversation with a totally different perspective,
Same.
like anti.
Yeah.
But having this conversation with you was really enlightening and like hearing about the different alternatives and like just like a light bulb went off, like a light switch was flipped where
I'm not as
I'm
apprehensive.
not apprehensive and there are alternatives and there are different ways to like preserve and achieve and
Yeah.
like look like myself. That's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all for an enhancement.
Yeah.
Like, I'm the concealer girl. I'm putting it where I'm noticing things. I have smile lines too. There's like some things where I would like slight adjustments, but I never want to look like different. Like I just
Mm-hmm.
want to look like you said, Janelle, fresh. Oh, she
Yeah.
has a glow about her.
Yeah.
Like she's looking nice. I don't want to look like now. What the hell does she do?
Yeah, and
Yeah. No.
these conversations with like people like you who really take what they do seriously and they're passionate about it and you care, it's the care for
It's the
me.
care for
It's
me.
the care. That is what makes us say, "Oh, I do actually have a change of heart.
Yeah.
Maybe this is something that is for me or something that I can explore." Because as Brittany mentioned, I also was anti. I'm like, "You won't catch me putting no filler in my face, baby.
Yeah.
You will
I was like, guys, come on to the clinic. You're like, uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah, I
Like,
was like, not me. Won't be at the
but
clinic. But now maybe you'll see me on the bus.
Right.
there we go.
No,
And again, there's like, it doesn't have to be Botox filler for everyone. Like I said, we have a black dermatology nurse practitioner on our team. I have skilled nurses I've worked with, training them what I do. But we have laser, we have microneedling, we have hydrofacial, we have a black esthetician, like, and then skincare. Like everyone should be maintaining their skin. So we're gonna go through like, hey, what are you doing at home? I'm telling you, it's so personal. It's such a conversation every time.
and it's
Every yeah.
comprehensive. It's
It is
Yes.
comprehensive. It's
comprehensive.
whole,
Yeah.
like encompassing. Where there is the skincare, there are the injections, there might be a facial. There is, there's so many things that we can consider to make sure that we look our best and feel our best, and we're preserving our sexy.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm here for it. I'm here for the girlies. Like we always talk about getting in the driver's seat, and I feel like taking care of our face and our skin and making enhancements is being in the driver's seat of our beauty.
Hmm.
So I'm so excited that we had this conversation today.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much. This is so fun.
Let our girls know where they can find you, how
Yes,
to book a
Yes.
consultation, where you at on the web, the whole bit.
yes.
Okay, so I'm Ginille Brown, cosmetic nurse practitioner. My on TikTok and Instagram is Ginille, Ginille. underscore NP. That's for nurse practitioner. Like I said, videos every day. We're posting, having these conversations. We're showing patients before and afters. Website is Ginille Beauty, GINILLEBEAUTY.com. We have two clinics. One is in Torrance, and then our main clinic is in Mar Vista, so outside of Culver City. We've got laser. I told you, microneedling. We have all the things. We see Black and brown women and men every day in our clinic. You can set up a consult. We can talk. We can do videos, whatever. But yes, I appreciate you guys. Any questions? Like I said, don't rush this stuff. I
Yeah.
tell them this is here. We develop a treatment plan. We go through it like we meet you where you're at. So
I
thank you
love it.
guys.
And all that information will be down in our show notes so that you can
Yes.
connect with Janelle and figure out what is available to you. What are your options? What makes the most sense to you? Janelle, we appreciate you so much for having this conversation with us and imparting all of your knowledge and wisdom regarding beauty and filler and Botox and all of the things with us
Yes.
today. It's been really
It
good.
has. It's been amazing.
Thank you guys. I appreciate you so much. Like I said, anytime you want to come, like let me know. I'll see you
We
guys
gonna
there.
be there. Don't say that, girl. You like to take
Okay.
offers.
Let's do it.